the
It was
assembly.
good, man. It's always nice to be able to come into the spirit and just chill. My only issue is that, I didn't have anybody to wash my feet. So, that's so I need that.
We all like.
But the session was beautiful, man. It's always nice to be able to be a part of a situation where like you can go in with other people, you feel the presence of the Most High, you get to feel a cleansing going into the new week. So it's always a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Okay. Bukima, the Tanzania Mazulu family, we are online. I have my brother, my yaya, Denim Richards here with us. And I think everyone knows him from um, how can I forget Storm? What is the name again?
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. Yeah, Yellowstone. And this is a mountain, right? A volcano.
It's a national park in the West. Yeah.
Is it not in America a volcano over there that is also
It's
called
a it's
Yellowstone?
yeah, it's a mountain. It's like a national park. It's called Yellowstone National Park, but the show is about, a giant ranch that's next to the Yellowstone. But yes, it's a
Oh,
pretty historic the Yellowstone National Monument or whatever is a pretty historical place for everyone in the US.
yeah, yeah. But I heard there was also once an erosion.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, man. There's been some crazy things that have been going on over the past, especially like in certain areas in the U.S. Montana and like the Wyoming area, which is like northwest U.S. There's so much flat land, but there's so much space, like area. They call it Big Sky Country, so they always see a lot of very strange things that go on, like in the mountains and in the plains of the northwest America. So a lot of crazy things. It's been a real interesting situation when we film out there.
Wow, wow. Sounds good. So
Mm.
yeah, then I'm gonna sing a song and then we can start here now. Nzambi seto okuzulu utufwanu sambua toma kutu kumikanga okukya kwensi Nzambi tata talangampe zetizele ebubuau ubate monweza kaka waizaiza Fumu yisu utufwila munanzile zulu wao utulwaki sokuwina kokuya kwensi nzambi tata talangampe zetizele ebubu wau ubate monweza kaka waizaiza kumbwa mfumu tani yeto yaikembe wanga wao konsu okuwila okumvuluza nzambi tata talangampe zetizele ebubu wau ubate monweza kaka waizaiza Mwanda nzambi velelesa ansafuka ya olubi ngolo zaku sisivava munantima mya nzambi tata talangampe zetizele ebubu wau ubatemo nweza kaka Waiza It's talking about the Most High also to look at us. Yeah, let him come to help us, each one of us, with his star and anointing and calling. Let us build the body of the Most High and build the kingdoms again.
Mm,
Hallelujah. Yaya Denham Richards.
get
What is
that.
the topic today?
The topic today is, are you going to get stuck in the land of your captivity? This is something I sent you a video, a YouTube link of a couple of days ago that I thought was very telling. And so, for most people, this is, I think, my third time or fourth time being on your channel. And so usually I kind of come with more of like the business side of things and, trying to help our people think about the business, and then you're tying everything into the spiritual. But I had a couple of revelations that I wanted to be able to share. And so I guess I'll just kind of get into it. And then you can stop and interject whenever you feel. So, like, if you obviously, what we all know, when you go to the book of Ecclesiastes, right? 1 and 9, it says, the thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there's no new thing under the sun. So we know that no matter what happens, it's already happened before. So we can't get into this place where we pretend like we don't know what's going to happen. What we don't know is when things are going to happen. But what we do know is that the Most High did say that there will be signs, right? You taught in a couple of videos ago about Matthew 24. And in Matthew 24, right, the disciples are going to Isaiah and are saying, what shall be the signs of the end? And Isaiah begins to break down all of the things that are going to happen and what things that we are to look at, right? So if you go to Matthew 24, and I'm just going to read a thing, and then I'm going to begin to tie it in. In Matthew 24, it states here, he says, and Isaiah answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name. And I am Messiah, I shall, they say that I am Messiah, I shall deceive many. And it says, and ye shall hear wars and rumors of wars, so that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and the kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famine and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many of you be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because the transgressions of the Torah, or the law, shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved. Now, why is this important? Why am I reading this? You made a video about this, but I'm going to break it down into another thing. What's interesting about this is many of our people are still in this belief that when we hear wars and when we hear rumors of wars and we see signs of pestilence, that this means that, oh, like we're finally going to be saved. It's time. We're ready to go. But Isaiah clearly says that you have to go through the sorrows. You have to go through all of these plagues. You have to go through all of this pestilence. You have to go through all these things. So we conveniently skip over a lot of the meat of things to get right to the excitement. So you see, it's a lot of our people will take this posture of, we're hearing, the Ukraine and Russia war and the United States and nuclear. And we start to get excited because our excitement then tells us that the end is here. And now we're going to be taken up in chariots and we're going to be brought back and it's going to be kumbaya and we're good. And then they never really look at it and don't understand that Yesiah broke down exactly how this is going to happen. Okay, so I want us to really overstand and understand what it is that we're now going to be talking about now. So something very, very powerful happened I think it was a week or a week and a half ago. Dubai, the UAE, said effective immediately, they will no longer allow any Nigerians to come into Dubai. Okay, so if you hold a Nigerian passport, you are not allowed to go into Dubai. Now, why are they doing this? Well, because Dubai is of the mindset that Nigerians come on a 30-day visa claiming to be tourists, and then they stay. And they stay because they're looking for jobs, they're looking for better opportunities to be able to make money to send back to Nigeria. Now, many people that are listening are like, well, what the heck does that have to do with us? We're not from Nigeria. We're not doing that. To me, these are these little signs that if you have spiritual eyes, you'll start to be able to tie some things in. So when I saw this, immediately the first thing I thought was, well, what happens if other countries decided to do this for people in the diaspora? What would happen if all of a sudden you have a situation or a scenario where there is a Russia and a Ukraine, and the United States is taking this posture of, well, you're going to do what we say, and then they decide to do something cataclysmic? Will not other countries then make a decision to then punish the people of the US? Because not all Nigerians that go to Dubai are there just to stay illegally or to do any of those other things. Some people want to go there because they genuinely just want to see the country. So I liken this to a bully in school. Right? If you've ever been bullied in school, usually there's one bully and he's bullying 5 or 6 kids. But it only takes one kid to decide, I don't want to be bullied anymore. And then all of the other kids that were also being bullied get their power and decide, you know what, we're going to go after this bully. I look at this as a lot of what will happen with the US and with Europe as they are starting to foment more situations. People are tired of being bullied by them. People are tired of being lectured about what it is. So what does this have to do with what we're talking about? Well, imagine if the US decided to bomb Russia and they were decided to get into a war. Now, what would happen if other countries in Africa decided, you know what? We stand in BRICS. So that means we're allied. BRICS means that they are allied with China and Russia and soon Saudi Arabia, right? And Saudi Arabia, when they decide to be with Saudi Arabia, that means that we will be taken off the petrodollar, right? That means our dollar bills will no longer be backed up by oil that is connected to Saudi Arabia. Our dollar will start to go flat. So what will happen if the United States decides that they're going to take a position of now going to war with Russia or going to war with China? And these African countries that are aligned with BRICS or want to be more aligned with BRICS decide, hey, look, we think China's the future. We think Russia's going to be a powerhouse. We're tired of being exploited by the US. So you know what we're going to do? Every US citizen, we want them out. Or any US citizen, we don't want you to come into this whatever African country, whether it be Angola, South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, whatever you name it. Now, some people will think, well, this can't happen. Well, of course it can happen. It's happened before. We just watched it over what just happened a couple of years ago, where embassies were closed, where they just decided, hey, nobody can come into our country, and this is just what it is, right? So this is something where you really have to begin to look at and go, wait a second. If Dubai can do this based off upon they just don't want more Nigerians to come into their country, then clearly when war decides to happen, which we've already said that there's going to be wars and rumors of wars, and then there will be war, what are you going to do? Where will you be? What will your position be at that time if African countries decide we don't want you to come anymore? Now you're going to sit there.
You're very, very, very prophetic. Yeah, Denim. Many people do not know the connection with me with Simon Toko. I wrote a book, yeah. And if you know and remember, if you read the book, it's written that it said that people will come from all over the places and try to enter to Africa. It's not like Africa will be like, come in.
Right.
Okay. And that's why the Musa is like, he's also saying in Amos 9, he's like, I'm sieving, you know, it's like he's like, looking, whom will I bring back?
Yep.
It's like not everyone will come home, you know.
Right.
Which is the same thing what you're saying. It's like borders. The borders will be built. Africa will be like one. It will be one. It will come a time that Africa will build walls, like we have walls in America.
Yep.
Huh?
Exactly.
There was a time already that Europeans they tried to enter to Africa. There was a time that Europe was run bankruptcy, the time of Hitler and stuff like that.
Mhm.
It was a time they came all to Africa by big ships. You can Google it up.
Yep.
Italian and whatever. They tried to make it to Africa.
Mhm.
Ships bigger than like the Titanic, full of Europeans.
Right.
And it will happen again.
Right.
And that's a good question. Are you prepared for that?
Are we prepared? So now what we have to understand is now we are of this mindset again. We've talked about this several times about getting to Africa and this, that, and the third. But now we have to go a little bit deeper, right? One of the things I love about a lot of things that you talk about, Masa, is like, you have to give people little bits at a time because you can't digest everything. And so now we have to start to go just a little bit deeper with that. So we have to understand that there's many different ways, avenues, and channels for you to get stuck in the land of your captivity, right? It's not just going to be one thing. The people that are running all these things, the people that are orchestrating this, they are well-run military machines, right? In their mind, they know how all these different pieces work. Everyone can Google. I think it was like maybe 5-6 years ago, or maybe 10 years ago. I remember Google had come out and said, or there's an article that came out and it says, do you know where you will be 1 year from today? Google does. So what it said was that Google literally has already built-in algorithms of where, based off of your life and the way that you work, of where you're going to be 365 days net from today, right? This is how the system, this is how in this algorithm they have you plugged in. So now I want us to start to go a little bit deeper about how we try to break this system or get ahead of it. Now, there's 3 different ways that we have to really understand this. So number one, if you get stuck in the land of your captivity, one of our biggest issues that we hear from a lot of our brothers and sisters is, I want to go to the continent, but I don't have any money, right? I want to go to the continent, but my family. I want to go to the continent, but this. There's always a reason, right? And I'm a firm believer that you either find a way or you find an excuse. Like it can only be one of the two. You either find that way to make something happen or you find the excuse of why it can't happen, but you do not get to complain or say, oh, but nobody told me.
We have Bible verses, for example, that says, come out of her.
Yes.
Okay. Do
Yes.
not be punished because of their iniquity or because of the things that the West have done.
Yes.
Because they will be punished. Yeah. And if we go to Habakkuk 2, it explains which city which city was built by blood. Yeah.
Yes.
And he's taking the captives of the Most High and don't want to let them go and all these kind of things. So there's a lot of things. And he said nations against nation in the land.
In the land, nations against nations. And people have to you have to Google or use
Kanye West now and what is happening in America. People are waking up and they're going crazy. Who are you guys? It's like in the time of Moses, when Moses woke up and say, "Who are you, Pharaoh? You're my father. You're my
uncle." That's the power, right? When Moses was living good, look, Moses wasn't necessarily looking for the Most High. He was chilling, right? Like he was partying with the pharaohs. He was learning. He was doing this. He was good. It took a cataclysmic event to start to happen for him to all of a sudden to wake up. Right. And one of the things that we have to understand is just like it was, like we said, in the days of Noah, like it says in the book of Matthew and other parts in scripture, where it says the same will be as today or when this happened as it was in the days of Noah, right? Where we'll be marrying, giving in marriage, we'll be, partying, we'll be doing all these other
water is coming against us.
And meanwhile, Noah's just out there hammering at his ark, right? And we know that there was 100 years that he was hammering at this ark. We're not saying that it's going to be 100 years. We don't know how long it is, but this is what we're going to get to. So imagine now, if you decide, if Saudi Arabia, which is something that's happening, everyone should start to Google these things. There's strong talks that Saudi Arabia is going to join BRICS, right? You've talked about what BRICS was, the BRICS nation, right? It was like Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, right? That have formed this new group, this new powerhouse, right? For their kind of agenda moving forward. There's strong talks that Saudi Arabia is now going to join them. If Saudi Arabia joins them, that means that we will now be taken off of the petrodollar, right? Which means if people don't know, there's a great book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman that I would highly recommend people to read. And it was about this man that worked, and his job was to build economic forecasts for countries that they wanted to take over with debt, with the IMF and the World Bank. Now, what they were able to do is they were able to get the dollar to be tied by oil. So anytime you wanted to buy oil, you had to pay for it in dollars, right? And this was something that they've done for Saudi Arabia. That's why the dollar has been so strong for so long. If Saudi Arabia leaves, okay, and joins BRICS, they're going to be pulling out of the dollar, which means that your dollar, the money that we have sitting in our accounts, now becomes devalued even more. Now, what do? What does this look like? Because now we already know that the money's devalued every single time. There's more inflation. There's more quantitative easing, right? The more that you print, the more devalued it becomes. But now what happens when that's not backed up by anything? Now you're going by the way of Zimbabwe. Now you're going the way that it has been in South America, where there was literally piles of money sitting outside and you couldn't even buy a French fry with piles full of money. They just sat there and there was nothing to do with it, right? So what we have to start to understand, so I put together what I believe are 3 little things that you can start to do to prepare yourself, because like you said, Masa, the Most High said, come out of her, my people, that you might not be a partaker in her plagues, that you're not being partakers in the judgment that she is going to come, that's going to come. So, and I wrote them all down so that I can make sure that I stay on topic. Okay. So, number 1, something that I did a couple years ago. First thing, and again, I'm prefacing all this with, I'm not a financial advisor, not a CPA. I don't do any tax things. I don't do anything. I'm just giving you certain things that I did to prepare myself and other family members for these things. Okay. So one thing that I decided to do was, if you're not prepared to come to the continent just yet, but you know that at a certain point you want to get there, what can I do right now? These little milestones that I can be working towards. Number 1, I would go out and get a credit card. Now, this credit card that you would get would ideally be for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, maybe up to $5,000. Now, why would you do this? Because if you're planning something and for whatever reason, there's a cataclysmic event that happens and now you need to get out of wherever place you are in the diaspora, how will you buy a plane ticket? If you're living month to month, paycheck to paycheck, and now you start to look online and you need to buy a plane ticket in 24 hours to get out of the country and it's $4,000, what are you going to do? Because the chances are that everybody else around you doesn't have any money either. So
yeah, did you see how much the plane ticket cost in the time of the pandemic?
Yeah,
it came to 4,000.
Yes,
Yeah?
just
or something.
Anywhere. Yes,
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is why I say you get a credit card. This is what I did. Again, you don't have to. I'm just giving you options, because what I don't want to keep hearing is we can't do anything. Well, it's too hard. Wait for the chariots to come. Wait for a rapture to come. There is no rapture. There are no chariots that are coming to get you. So we have to be proactive. Okay. So ideally you would get this credit card and you would hold on to it. It wouldn't be for your personal use. It wouldn't be for anything. This is solely so that you could get a plane ticket and that you would be able to get to a country in Africa, ideally a place that you've already researched beforehand, and you would be able to have a couple of days where you could stay in a hotel and to be able to get food, and you wouldn't worry about your bank account. If the dollar gets devalued, they're still going to be accepting credit cards, right? It's still the way that it works. They will still accept credit cards. So that is something that you can do right now to begin to start thinking about, okay? Getting a credit card, and then you want to base that financial thought process, in my opinion, based upon how many dependents you have. If you have a wife, or if you have a husband, if you have children, then you got to start to think, okay, well, if I got 3 kids or 4 kids, how much is this going to cost if I have to do this last minute? If you're one of the people that has plenty of money and you don't think about those things, then this isn't for you. This is great. Then good for you. Okay. So that's number 1, potentially thinking about that. Okay. Number 2, if you have a passport, right? Let's say if you have a European or a US passport and you have about 2 years before you need that thing to get renewed, I would turn it in right now and get it renewed right now. When I came back a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I had maybe like a couple years left on my passport. And I was like, you know what? What I don't want to happen again is the embassies close worldwide. This happens, that happens, because we have to remember countries in Africa, all countries, I think, they will not let you in if you have less than 6 months left on your passport, right? And usually some countries want to see a year or longer on your passport and multiple pages that are available, right, for you to be able to enter into the country. So what I would do, so what I did a couple years ago is I was like, okay, I'm going to turn my passport in now. Embassies are open. There are no reasons for shutdowns or anything like that. Once I got my US passport back, I have 10 more years, right? So now I'm good till 2031, right? So now I know if something happens, an embassy shut down, there's another worldwide pestilence and all these other things happen. And I'm like, I can't get out and I can't get into this country because my passport, you're good. So you want to make sure everybody that's in your family that could potentially be depending on you for an out, that they all have passports and that their passports are current. Now, if you have 5, 6, 7, 8 years left, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about the people that maybe have 1 or 2 years left and they're like, oh, somewhere down the line, I'll wait to do that. But if you do that, remember what just happened a couple years ago when everything was shut down. Now imagine everything is shut down in your country. You turn your passport in, which means you give your passport to the government, and the government says we're shut down. Now you can't go anywhere. Okay, you
Brother,
do not.
This happens to so many people, and it kills so many people. People could not move.
Can't
People
go
could not
anywhere.
move, and the embassy was like, yeah, we are not working. We are not on. We are off.
We're closed. We're
Yeah,
closed.
you have your passport, but you can't get it.
You can't. And on top of that, when they came back, they're 2 years behind. So they're processing applications right now for 2021, right? And we're almost in 2023. Okay. No, so that's what my other thing. So number one is if you have the option, if you live in a country where that's a viable thing, getting a credit card based upon how many dependents you have in your family as an emergency. Like that's like like if you live in an apartment building where there's a fire hydrant and there's a fire, that's you break that fire hydrant, you're ready to go. So I would have that at my disposal at any given time, making sure that everybody is current up on their passports. Number 3, many of our brothers and sisters have worked 9 to 5 jobs where they usually get 2 weeks off every single year. Okay. Where they want to go on vacation. They're going to go visit family. They're going to go do this. I was with a lady last week. And she was talking about, I got to get out of the US and I want to do this. And Denim, where should I go? What should I do? Who should I talk to? This, and this. And then she proceeded to tell me that on her vacation, she was going to go and go to a beach and go hang out. And what I told her was, I said, look, instead of you going on a vacation for that 2 weeks that you have off, why don't you and whoever it is that you're going to be going with start to research different countries on the continent that you could potentially be interested in and then go there, right? We're in a wartime right now. This is not in the time to just go sit at a beach, drink Mai Tais hand. As much as we would like to sometimes because it's stressful what we do, we would like to do that, but we're in a battle, right? And this is why Isaiah said, those that endure unto the end shall be saved. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to give you things that will help you endure. These are not guarantees that this is going to make your life all that much easier. This is not a guarantee that, this means you're going to be saved from all these other things. These are just giving you little tools to help you endure. Okay. So if you have this 2 weeks off, what you want to do, if you're a family with a husband and wife, I would respectfully say that you guys get together and you say, okay, where are countries in Africa that we would be interested in going? What can we do? Then we're going to mark 2 or 3 of those countries, and that's where we're going on our vacation. And it's not a vacation, it's reconnaissance, right? If you're in the war, they would send the same way that Massa sent Joshua up to the thing and the other one to go do reconnaissance. What's going on over there? And then they reported back. There's the land, there's giants over there. How do we do our battle? That is where we have to be right now. So your elders, whoever's the top of your household, this is what you need to be doing. Now, we're going to go just a little bit deeper and then I'll kick it back to you. When you get there, when you're researching the countries that you get there, the number one mistake that everybody falls into, I'm going to this country. Okay, great. You're going to go to that country. How long is your visa good for in that country? But no, it's good. They look like me. It's the year of the return. It's good. Everything is great. Okay, great. But how long can you be in the country before you have to leave that country? You're not thinking about this. You have to start thinking about this. We're in war. So now the last thing, once you've now decided we're going to take 2 weeks, of our vacation time and we're going to go do reconnaissance in a country. The most important and vital thing that you have to do, because ideally you had already decided, you've already looked at what is my exchange rate in the country going to be for my euro, pound, or dollar. They're all pretty much the same now. Is it safe? Do I have kids? If I do have kids, is there a system for my kids to be a part of? But now what you have to think of is how long can I be in the country before my visa runs out? In some countries in Africa, you can be there for 3 months. You can be there for 6 months. But what will you do after that? This is where we make our fatal flaw. You can get there, but can you stay there? How can I stay there now? So this is now what you have to do. You now have to begin to start building in value, right? As a business, your job is to build value. So this may mean that there's a potential that you could stay in the country if you have something that you're bringing to that country. Are you bringing investment? So if you're somebody that's watching this and you have a boatload of money, you might be able to go into a country and say, hey, look, I'm going to donate $150,000 or $200,000 to your country, and the government might give you citizenship, or they might allow you to work you'll have residency, and then you can work towards citizenship. So you could do it that way. If you don't have $200,000 or $500,000, you have to find other ways. Well, what are those other ways? You can be a teacher. You can go find and apply at an English school, right? And teach English. Maybe you're sitting there going, well, I don't want to teach English because in the West, I'm a mechanic. We're not talking about what it is. You're in a war. Right now, it's about surviving. Then we'll figure out when we get there, right? This isn't about that, right? You have to drop your ego, okay? So you can be a teacher. So you can sign up to schools where you can do basic things. Now you get a working visa. You can try to get involved with the nonprofit organization, right? And a nonprofit organization will be able to say, okay, we'll do the paperwork for you. You'll be able to do this. Okay. So when you get to those countries, you want to be looking at, if it's a country of your interest, you want to be thinking about what can us as a couple or me as a single person, what value can I bring to that country that will allow them to see so much value in me that they would want me to stay here long term. Okay. Africa is not at a place right now where they're spiritually awakened and they're just calling the diaspora back and saying, here's 4 hectares of land for you and your family. And here's this. That's not where they are right now. Where they are right now is they want people that are coming in with value, either with money, with education, with knowledge of what it is in the West, and they want that in their country. So you need to figure out what it is that you do. So my last thing, brother, and then I'll kick it to you, is when you are sitting at home and you're praying, you're meditating, you need to get into a wartime mentality. This is chess. Every piece is a significant piece. If you ever watch master chess players, they don't just move a piece. They have what they call their first 5 to 7 moves in an opening. It's called the opening. Their first 7 moves they already have. Okay, boop, 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 right? They already know. But once they start to get into that 8th move, 9th move, 10th move, they go into what they call these long thinks, where they sit back and they go, okay, if I do this, it's going to do this. And if I do this, this is what it's going to do. This is what they do. This is what the other nations do. This is how we were conquered. They had for 2 years, brother, right? They did the Berlin Conference, right? The Scramble for Africa. That was a 2-year-long conference. They didn't just say, we want to go colonize Africa, and they all got in their planes and went. They said, we're going the smartest minds. We want to bring them into a room, and we're going to sit here, and we're going to pull up a map, and we're going to go by each country and each province and each village in that country, and we're going to dissect so that when we break from this, we're all of one mind and of one accord. And if something goes terribly wrong, we are prepared for what is going wrong. That is what it was a 2-year plan. So what I would submit to you, brothers and sisters, is Noah was building his ark for 100 years. We're not saying that it's going to be 100 years. We don't know how long it's going to be. Many of us that are in the prophetic, we feel like 5 years feels about right before, sugar really starts to hit the fan. But nonetheless, if you prepare like the end is tomorrow and it doesn't come, but it comes in 2 years or 3 years down the line, imagine how prepared you're going to be in that time. Do not wait until you look up and you see that first drop of rain hit your tongue to start trying to find wood and cut down trees and get people, because by that time, everybody else is going to be scrambling. So this is that time to not come on YouTube or go out and try to be entertained or do it. This is things to be taking what Masa's saying, to chew that as food, then to start to plan and go, how can we put ourselves in the position so that myself, if I'm a single person or if I have a family or my husband or my wife and I have kids, that we can begin to prepare ourselves to make the exit. Because if we are forced, we're going to be stuck. You will be stuck financially. You'll be stuck spiritually, because you'll say, look at all these people. You'll look around, you'll see, look at all these nations that have left my neighborhood. Look at all these nations that are no longer at these football games or basketball games. Great. That means now I can go be in a box seat, right? You're just taking their place. Meanwhile, you're never stopping to go, well, wait a second. Where did they go? Wait, if they left and they love this place, where would they go and why would they be going? It's like if you walk outside and you see trails of ants, right? You look down, you see these ants are very, very preoccupied. They're walking in one line. They're going back and forth. They're not like this all over the place. They're structured. Why? Because they know rain is coming, because they know a storm is coming. So this is how we need to begin to work with our spiritual eyes and get them.
Wow. Amazing, brother. We are in the exodus right now, the exodus of the European and Asiatic nations, or let's say Arabic nations. You're gonna see that they're trying to get into the best countries of the world.
Yep.
They're really fighting. Yeah, most of the people, they will always show you Africa, but it's not really Africa that is running away now today because of hunger, because of bad politics, because of um, uh, yeah, because of manifestations of Taliban's or whatever. It's the European himself.
Mhm.
The European himself, his exodus has already begun.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, these people are trying to enter into America. They try to make it into Germany, into France, into the Netherlands. They're coming from Poland. They're coming from everywhere to Norwegian. Okay, so that's what is happening right now. It's a war between the European himself and controlled by those people that Kanye West has mentioned very, very well. Because this people's times is coming to an end. It will come to an end very soon.
Mm.
Because that's what is happening now here. The devil, which is very well mentioned, that they are in the Middle East. There,
Mm.
these people, they will be now. How can I say? The world will see now who they really are.
Mm.
Yeah, and if this happens, uh, I think if this happens, that black people should be very, very careful,
Mm.
especially black people. They should be very, very careful,
Mm.
because these people will come against us with another power, because they hated us first before even anyone else hated us.
Mm.
They supported every black wicked man, or every society, the church, the politicians. They were well supported by them. And the European nations, they themselves, if we're talking about the Vikings and all the Arabs, they were conquered by them.
Mm.
They were conquered by them. And the Europeans, they can't do anything without America.
Mm.
Because of them,
Mm.
America is not Christian. Yeah?
Mm. Mm.
America is Jewish. Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. This is how America is.
Mm.
Yeah. Europe is Jewish. It's not
Mm.
Christian. Yeah.
Mm.
We talk Christianism, they're in the back. Yeah. The back of them are the Jewish people. So the same in France, the same in England. So what is happening here is that all these European and Arabs, they will enter into our countries in the West, and those people that are entering this in those places, these are not the best people. These are
Mm.
not the smartest people. These are people that are fleeing from their countries,
Mm.
and they themselves, they will destroy the European concept and dream. The American dream will be destroyed by their own white people.
Mm.
Yeah, because black people never tried to destroy the white man's dream. They worked with them, they lived with them.
mm,
And now we're going to find in the midst of the whites different kinds of whites.
mm,
The whites, they will come and say, what have you guys done to our countries? Because you have done this and this to our countries, that's why I had to flee to your country. Now you're supposed to feed my children and me. And look, you can't feed me. Now I will destroy you.
mm,
Okay? And this
mm,
is where the black man, with his words and the things that he will start saying everywhere all over the world, by acting like Moses in the house of Pharaoh, these nations will also wake up, and some of them will cleave to the black man and say, we now know exactly who the devil is. Now look at this.
mm,
And this world will go upside down, and you will see some of these white people now protecting black people,
mm,
fighting for them, even unto their death, to fight the one who has destroyed their countries and has
mm,
destroyed them for years. And
mm,
for years, even before
mm,
they
mm.
even were in the time where they were tribes, you
Right.
know, Christians came and made them become Christian. Muslims came, they will be remembered. You know, the thing that the most of the people of the blacks think is they think that the time is stuck, but they do not understand. They just think of today. A black man eats today pizza, tomorrow a burger, but he don't know that the burger tomorrow will become fufu. It will
Mm,
become another food from Africa. You know, you
mm,
know. But the
mm,
white man, he knows. The white man or the Arabian, they know already, but the black man don't know.
mm.
Knowing is power. They know tomorrow we have to go back to Africa.
Right.
Go to a white man today and ask him. He will tell you. He will tell you, yeah, tomorrow I think we have to go back.
Because they know that all of their life, the life force of the world is in Africa. So if you're a business person and you run an oil company, you have metals, you have coltan, or you have an electronic company, it's no different than, some of the biggest people in the world that are trying to go to electricity. Where are they getting all of the minerals for that? So they know Africa is in the mouth of everybody. And so that's what we're saying, is that everybody knows where they all have to return to. What we have to do as Muntu is we have to identify what it is that they are doing and why are they doing it right now. And so if we see somebody running, right, if you see somebody running past you and then you see 5 people running past you and then 10 people running past you, the chances are maybe you should either stand where you are and look where they're going, maybe follow where they're going sometimes, or you have to identify that whatever they're running from is probably not the best thing. But what we do is we get so paralyzed. It's called paralysis by analysis, because deep down, this is just my personal belief, and looking at a couple of things for the last couple of years, is we spiritually believe in the things, the prophecies that our prophets have come and said, the things that Isaiah has said, the things that the Most High has said. We believe those things to be true, but there's some part of me that thinks that a lot of our people believe that it won't be now, that it'll be sometime down, like it's still a future thing, right? That it's still something that's going to come way far down the road. And so we get into this mindset where it almost becomes prophetic entertainment, right? Where it makes us feel good, but we
That's
don't
that is
move on.
that is very true, and this is the Christian ministry,
Mm,
church, or belief. Like
mm,
tomorrow. If you tell them it will happen now,
mm,
they people will become crazy, right? Yeah, they
right,
will go crazy. So they will be like, tomorrow, my pastor, tomorrow, but in 20 years, maybe
right,
and that is the problem here, because if you look out of your window, you see uh every single day, yeah, the weather is changing, people are frustrated, nothing goes back like it was before.
right,
You can't tell me that it's 20 years, 100 years. No, it is happening now in front of your eyes.
right,
Okay,
right,
Mr. Putin can't stop the war, because if he stops the war, it's like he will be becoming the next Hitler. For the
right,
European, he's the greatest trait. He's the greatest monster now for all this European gay society, new age. They want to finish this man up. And if this man says, I just stop, even with the Russian, they will say, now you have to die because you brought us into this situation.
Right.
The war is there. The
Right.
situation that European is now divided, that those white people are divided, it's clear, it's there. It won't change. Yeah.
Right. Right.
So now, are we still waiting for the white man to come to change our lifestyle and bring us answers to those where no answers are, but the Most High is the answer? We know it very clear.
Right.
So now we have to come out and go back to our positions, because it is clear that what is happening here in the world is because the world is out of order, and we have to lead. And these people have to now come down. They have to come low and understand that the Most High have loved us from the beginning.
Right.
And we as the children, as dumb we are, or stupid or whatever, we are still the chosen, and we have to be above them. If not, we will be all taken away. That's the law of nature. That is the law that was given from the beginning.
Right.
If they don't want to give up and they would just want to fight and be arrogant, they will be taken away.
Right.
Yeah.
And we know that based off of
you can see. The Most High is saying, how can we be saved if we don't know who we are? Which means when these kinds of things happens, we have to know who we are, what to say, what to do, so that we can protect ourselves and maybe those who will believe in that what we say.
Right.
Because now a wind is coming, water is coming. Okay, the Mississippi is going crazy. You have to tell as the adoptive. You can't just know those things that we are, but we as the fruit, the tree, we can say to the water, stop here. No, don't come further. We have to learn. We have to. We know how to sing old songs of Tupac. We know how to wear Balenciaga. Now we have to know how to do the Most High's work.
Right.
If you are Pan-Africanist, if you are a Muntu, a Bantu, if you are a Christian or whatever, you have to know the power, the invocation of the Most High, so that you can save our people. The people that will become rich in this world, they won't become rich by being smart by themselves, but they will become rich by being chosen to become rich. Never forget this. There is always a word, something that you have to know. It's the Most High makes people rich or poor.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to become great among us, you have to know things that others don't know, which means the Most High will show you things in the future that will save our people, that will do something for our people, so that we can come out from the West, for an example. Because here in that time right now, brothers and sisters, every man is searching for answers where he can go.
Right. Where he can go. Where can I get rest? Right. Where can we go? Where can we get what you're saying? It's because yesterday I was thinking about the story of Joseph, right? And that was the whole point. The Most High allowed him to be sold, allowed him to be able to go down into Egypt, was given a prophetic word and understanding, and put him in a position that would bring him and his family great wealth in Egypt, right? And Joseph at that time didn't realize that that's what was happening. But as time was going on, and all of a sudden he's the number 2 to Pharaoh, right? He's a prime minister of Egypt. And now he is in a position where Pharaoh is saying, you're going to run all the businesses and the storehouses here in Egypt. And there's going to be, and Joseph knew there's 7 years of famine. There's going to be 7 years of goodness and 7 years of famine. But you have to remember, he told the people of Egypt that this was going to happen. And but when in the years in year 2 or 3 of plenty, they were eating, drinking, and being merry like this time was never going to end. And Joseph was storing, putting things away. Joseph, why don't you come out, bro? Come, let's turn up at the club, do this. He's like, bro, I can't. I got this thing I got to do. Bro, that don't make any sense. Those same people that are at the club are going to be the same people that are begging you for some corn, right? Like this is how it's going to work. And so like you're saying is it's our job to be able to see, but we also have to move. The Most High never said anywhere, even if you just take Matthew 24, nowhere in Matthew 24 did it said it was going to be easy, that you were going to love every minute of it. It actually said that even for you, right? It even said for the very elect, if possible, they will even be deceived. So the Most High said that the time that is going to come is going to be so powerful where we think at an intellectual level, well, I'm not going to be deceived because I know about Project Bluebeam. So when I see this in the sky, I won't be like, if you think that that is the extent of what's going to be coming, then you've already been deceived, right? You've already been deceived. So we have to take a very humbling posture and understand that all of our answers were in Matthew 24 as far as what it was going to look like, where it literally said that there's even, and we're seeing that even now, right, brother? We're seeing even some of our own brothers and sisters who are in the truth and in this, okay? And so what ends up happening, unfortunately, is that as this time goes on, there'll be many people that will begin to lead you astray. There'll be many people who will say things, but they're not doing things. Why are you telling me about all the greatness of the land, but you're not in the land, right? This is how it works. This is like when I first went to an accountant, right, for my finances. And they were saying, oh, you can invest in this, in the stock exchange and this, and you could do this. And then I remember I asked them, I said, do you invest in that stock? Oh, no, I don't. Well, hold on a second. So it's so good. It yields such a good return. I'm going to make so much money in the long run, but yet you won't do it. Well, okay, well, that doesn't make any sense. So this is how we have to start to operate. This is that time. We have to move out of the time of being YouTube entertained,
You're very good.
entertained, and move into the physical.
People have to know that good and bad are partners. I always remember if someone wants to tell me who's good or who's bad, I always say there is no one that can be good and there's no one that is really bad. Because even the bad man had some good he has a family. He has a family that he loves. He has a mother. No one touched my mother. You know, if you just beat him once, he's like, oh, don't beat me again. But maybe he's a killer or whatever. One. You know, he does to others, but no one. He don't want anyone do it to him.
Right.
And I was like, what's going on here? Who's good and who's bad? You see a good person, just for a second, he becomes so crazy, starts doing things because the evil spirit entered. And when I understood this, I was like, even the good, the elect, many of them will perish because it's just a time. It's about the time. It's about the moment. It's about the moment. In this moment, what did you do? What did you do over the years? Did you really plant so that you can reap? Because you need something that you can reap. You need that. Did your soul, did that what is inside of you bring the fruit thereof? Because every one of us has a mission here.
Yes.
Every one of us has something to do here. That's so funny. Okay. Besides dancing, singing, acting, running, doing whatever. Yeah. You have something that you have to do here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's another problem.
Yes. We forget we get entertained with our mission. We want to be entertained and we want to enjoy. No different than the angels that were sent to watch and protect the earth. And then they started seeing certain things. They're like, well, maybe we'll just do this instead. Like but that's no different than us, right? Like that's no different than we were sent.
Solomon style.
Right. Yeah. You know, but this is how it is, right? We were sent, and then we all of a sudden get very, very distracted, and we start to sell ourselves on being able to be distracted. But just like we say, and it sounds so simple, that you'll know them by the fruits that they bear. And that's the thing, is there's many people that believe that they'll be able to identify evil, but you have to understand through the spirit.
Exactly. Because your best friend today, you're working with him together. Something small happens, and you're not friend with him again. This doesn't mean that he's a bad person. It
Right,
just means now you can't work with him together because something fell there, something happened.
right,
Okay, I
right,
can even make a video about that if you guys want. You guys,
right,
we're gonna be surprised. That's
right.
why sometimes be very careful. If we have to blame someone, we have to know that uh there is a clock. Now it's one. Then after 1 second, it's two. Okay, maybe you have to jump over your ego to
Yeah,
understand, that
yeah,
you're fighting for something that is bigger.
bigger.
Look at the European nations; they never understood each other. But
Mm,
because they said the black man is our enemy,
mm,
they're what they are. Even
mm,
those, all of them, they're around them. They're like, we have an enemy. It's the
mm,
most high too. Yeah,
mm,
so let
mm,
us stay. And that's why they're like angry with Putin.
mm.
And for me myself, somewhere, we have to understand if we really would, because the Most High want us to become one.
Right.
Now he's like forcing us to become one. It's no more, he's not no more like humble or hiding. He's like forcing us to
Yeah,
become one.
yeah,
Forcing.
yeah.
Yeah. And that's what you see, what really surprised me, like for example, Kanye West. Um saying those kind of things that we are the Jews, that we are the 12 tribes and stuff like that.
Mm,
And we have Kendrick Lamar saying these kind of things in his songs. We have um many people now waking up in the West and saying, hey, look, if we are the 12 tribes, and then we go deeper and start asking, man, we came from Africa. We know that people are writing now to also brother Ron Dalton and stuff like that.
mm,
Like,
mm,
we are called anti-Semitic, but in the other way, it's unites us. Yeah.
mm,
And
mm.
tomorrow, when we become more, because we need our own economy, we need our own wealth, with our own money. Like Gaddafi, he
Mm,
knew from the beginning these people are poor. We
mm,
have the money here, you
mm,
know.
mm,
So the thing is, the Most High is still cleaning up the bad people among us,
mm.
the really bad people who do only evil,
Right.
and trying to unite us.
Mm.
And then we're gonna get our wealth, and this wealth, these currencies will be valued, it will be big.
And
And
yeah,
exactly,
go
but
ahead.
the
Go
good
ahead.
part here, you see how the white people are now searching for black people. They never searched for black people before. They're
Mm,
now searching for black people. Hey, Kanye West was giving them the money.
mm,
Rihanna's giving them the money. This J's to the Z is giving them the money. Here, the
mm,
African presidents are giving those people the opportunity to take the money. But
mm,
now they are searching for every black man that can help them also to get the understanding.
mm,
Yeah, like
mm,
you said, Joseph, for example,
mm,
Daniel teach the Nebuchadnezzar.
mm.
Yeah, we have Moses with his intellect. Yeah, so
Right.
they're searching for our people now to teach them, how they can come out from out of their miseries.
Mm,
Like for example, a white man comes across the street and sees a black man there and asks him, "Hey man, I know who you are. What can I do?" And the black man is like, no, bow down. Blah, blah, blah. No, the black man must come now with the wisdom and tell them,
right.
look, the world is no more like you think. The
Mm,
white man's time is over. Now you
mm,
explain him step by step what is happening and will happen. And the good thing about these nations are they are not violent. They will not come pop, 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 pop. No, he will go home. You might
mm,
think that he just looked at you and he thought you're crazy. He will go home and start thinking, hey, that guy told me something. I knew from the beginning that everything is stolen here in America and the Caribbean, the Brazil we stole the Middle East, we stole all this place. What will
mm,
happen next? This black guy, that thing that he said, this is how we're gonna get these people on our side, and later we're gonna receive that what is ours, that what is was given from us from the beginning. This is what I think.
And the Most High said that you'll come out with great substance, but great substance is
Exactly.
multiple things. It doesn't mean just physical wealth. It means substance of knowledge, right? Knowledge is something that most people in today's society would say, I can either give you contacts or I can give you $1,000,000. Which one will you take? 99.9% of people will take the $1,000,000. For me,
But
give me
they don't
contacts.
know anything to do. They don't know anything to do with that.
But if you give me contacts, then I can travel with that, and I have that currency everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
So when he
We
says
have a
that,
lot of millionaires in Africa. So many. They don't know anything to do with the money.
right,
10 women, 15 women, every one of them goes to Dubai.
hmm
And then you go out a little bit. Hey, who are you? Hey man, I go to Dubai. La, la, la. Who's your man? I have no man. So you see,
right, right,
but the business you have it from a guy that is a
right,
millionaire, that is a colonel or a general or whatever. So
right.
you know,
You have
sorry.
to be very so just understand that this mindset of when it says it will come out with great substance, that it means so many different things. It doesn't mean just financial wealth. It means something even far greater than that, because it's going to be knowledge. And like Mosai said in the book of Daniel, that at that time knowledge will be increased, but the wicked shall continue to do wickedly. So we know that as these times come, that there's going to be people that one day we're at the club and then all of a sudden they're sitting there going, hey, dude, I just got this prophecy. I think we got to do this. And you have to allow. And so my last thing that I would submit is we have to also, within our own community, we have to leave room for people to grow and for people to change. A lot of us are trying to still judge people off the things that they're saying based off of the way they were 2 or 3 years ago. And some people change. If you knew me 3 or 4 years ago, you probably be like, yeah, bro, I don't know, which I don't believe it, right? And so for those people, I had to stop hanging out with them because I'm growing, but you want to keep me in a place that I'm not at anymore. You want to remind me about a place that I'm not at. And so within our own community, as we're trying to learn how to trust each other, because trust is a huge issue upon our community, we have to understand that if you're in a place of any type of leadership or any place where you're, and anybody that is talking to other people is a leader, you have to be fully prepared to back up every single thing that you're saying by your own actions. It's not enough for you to say, we have to go here, we have to be in the land, we have to invest in this, we have to do that, but you're not going to the land. You're not doing those things. Right now, and I said this maybe even a year and a half ago when I came on your channel, I said that the time to just talk is done. Our people need actionable things. They need actionable items, something where when they turn this off or they go to that, they're sitting there going, okay, I can apply for this, I can submit this, I can do this. We got to start getting into the planning of it all, because the last thing that I want is for us to get into a position where now they're reaching out to us and saying, how can I get over? How can I get that? And planes are, to get a plane ticket, $7,000, $8,000, right? This is where the world is going to. So I wanted to submit that to you, and to your beautiful brothers and sisters that are audience that tune in all the time. That this is an opportunity now to stop being entertained and to stop getting into the actionable things, and do not pretend as though this is 100 years down the road, because Noah needed every single day of that 100 years to build that ark. Right? Like he needed every single day to be able to do that. And so we have to make sure that as we're planning our own arcs, and the people that are going to be in our arc, because we're all going to have an arc, and we're all going to have people, like, as you said, from all these other nations as well, that are going to come and say, I know I was laughing at you before, but I have my family and I'm going to be stuck here. And guess what? Because we are the children of light, because we are the salt of the earth, we're going to have to sit there and go, you're most welcome. And for a lot of us right now, we're not at the space where we want to do that. Right now, we're at a place where we want our pound of flesh, right? We feel like we've been trodden down for so many years. We have the DNA of our ancestors that feels like we want that recompense. We want all those other things, but we have to understand that in order for us to live up to the expectations of the Most High, we have to do the work of the Most High. We have to be patient. We also have to be long-suffering, but we also have to be planners, and we also have to be ready to put our plans into action.
Exactly. The scriptures talks about people prophesying in the streets and get slaughtered, and then the scriptures talks about you have to plant, which means so that you can reap. This means you have to go and maybe you fall. If you fall once or twice, by the third time, the Most High maybe will lift you up, because you
Right.
have to learn from.
Right.
You have to learn when you're when you're in the country. How many rich people do we have? Not many. And if we have some, how much do they do for our community?
Right.
Which means, will the devil just let you come and do whatever he wants to do for your community? Definitely not. Which means you have to try. Or will this work? Oh, it didn't work out. Will this thing work? Oh, this didn't work out, but this works now. And now taking one or two people here, you can also try. So we need things. We the most I have to open things for us up, where we can enter and do this job with our families, with the people, friends, and also receive something for that and build from there. But to
Yes.
go and to come to these businesses, or to get this kinds of company or whatever, you have to suffer, and you need a little luck, because the most of the things that people do in the Africa doesn't go through. Yeah.
Right.
But then you have to remember, what did you do in the West? You have worked for someone in the West your whole life.
Right.
What did you do there? Now, because you have to start thinking, you are now becoming a self-made.
You're
You
an
are now trying to
entrepreneur.
become doing something for you and your family that will last maybe forever and ever, and you're gonna build from there.
Right.
That's why
Right.
it's very important to learn
Right.
from the West. And we went
Absolutely.
to the West to
To learn.
learn.
To learn.
We went to the West to learn. That's
That's
the other
that's
funny part.
that's what we're there to do. We
Yeah.
got our thing, but just like any punishment, when you get punished, the goal of the punishment is that you learn something. If you're getting punished, you didn't learn anything, then the punishment wasn't steep enough, right? And the Most High is like, was 400 years not enough, like for you to be able to learn? And to add to your point, many of us have been working for companies our entire life. We go when we want to get a job and we need money, we fill out a job application. A lot of us are going to have to get into that investor mindset, the entrepreneur mindset. But you have to understand, flying over the ocean is not going to make you an entrepreneur. Flying over the ocean is not going to make you a good investor. You have to start to learn those things now. These are skills that you can get books on, that you can watch YouTube videos on, that you can. This is what, when I'm talking about stop being entertained, these are the things. It's good. Like we say all the time, it's good to know about the spiritual things, but you also have to be able to take the spirit of things and put them into actionable things. The Most High never said, just sit at my feet for the rest of your life and just wait. As a matter of fact, he said, for those that didn't do anything, you'll be the least in my kingdom. As a matter of fact, get out. I want the people who I gave a little bit to treat that little bit like a lot. Right? He gives everybody different things, right? It's like the seed, right? 1 seed, 3 seeds, or 1 seed, 5 seed, 10 seeds. What did you do? But the one that had the 1 seed was so afraid, because all I have is this little thing. And then he said, but look at everybody else doubled that. They got 100% increase on that which I gave them. And now you will be called the least, because you had no ability in yourself. I've given you something. And a lot of our ancestors have died with their seeds in them. So now we have to make the decision. Like you said, Masa, earlier, we have to make a decision. Do we want to die with our seeds in us, or do we want to be the generation that reaps from the harvest of our seeds?
Yeah, you want to keep your life, yeah, to protect it, you will die. Yeah, and you want to die, which means you want to try to fight for your people, you will live. That's a funny thing, but this is how it works. Yeah. What do you say, yeah, before we end, about the coming events or the things that Kanye West has done so far and said? Do you have a word for that?
I don't have anything really to say on that. I think I think what's really interesting in our society is it's scary, because we can lose everything in a heartbeat. And it's very scary if you really
Close my books again.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we look at a lot of things right now, and we're looking at some scary situations where it's better. You have to use wisdom, right? I think this is the time. I think one of the great things that the Most High is doing is the Most High is testing his children to see, are you children or are you adults? Because children don't exercise impulse control, right? They don't, they, when they feel something, they act on it. When they want something, they act on it. Adults, mature people, when they feel something, when they're affected by something, they sit back and they think about cause and consequence. Okay. Is what I'm going to say or the stand that I'm going to take, is that going to outweigh the blowback that I'm going to get from it? Right. And so this is a time where your level of discernment, where your level of wisdom must be so increased. You must pray about it. You must fast on it, whatever you need to do, because this is a time where there's going to be a lot of triggers, and you have to be very, very careful about the traps that you fall into or don't fall into, because the reality of it is we are in a system, and that system has rules of engagement. You don't have to like the rules of engagement. You don't have to think that it's fair, right? But you sure as heck are going to acknowledge the fact of you are in a system. And so for me and my family and the things that I have to do, for the people that rely on me to do things, from other people who don't even know that they rely on me for things, I'm at a place right now where I'm like, not my dog. It's not my dog. It's not my fight. That's not the hill that I'm dying on, right? This is not a hill that I'm dying on. Undoubtedly, there's going to be a time in all of our lives that we're going to have to find that hill that we're going to die on. But this isn't going to be what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to pile on, because I think that our people love to see downfalls of some of our people. I think it's very sad, which is a learned behavior, which actually came through like the Willie Lynch doctrines of enjoying when our people that look like you start to fail, because somehow we feel like in their failure we're elevated. But then also, what I'm also not going to do is I'm also not going to poke a bear. Right? I'm not going to go and stick my head in a lion's mouth. That's not where we are right now. So this is a time where I would tell all of our brothers and sisters to think about long term. This is a long game, right? Whatever is being said from our brothers, our sisters, and things of that nature, think about how much is going to change. I look at this as the last thing that I would say. A lot of the stuff that you see on social media is an energy harvest, right? We as Bena Congo, we have so much energy, and the world loves to have that energy. It loves for us to focus our energy on a thing, and they're able to harvest that energy, right? So we want to be very, very careful how much energy we pour into something, because that's ultimately going to be energy that we're being taken away from something else that could help us move forward.
Mm-hmm. That's what I like. That's what I like. I don't like that he lost a lot of money, but that what I like is that he is opening his mouth, because for me it's very important. I know that he's not an angel of the Most High, definitely not. I would be a fool, But I like it that he opens his mouth, and I like it that that others also support that what he's doing, because the thing is, they are not the Jews. Yeah, they are not. Yeah.
Mm.
So if we say it, who will listen to us? Now people have one more video that they can put somewhere and say, look, that guy was saying these kind of things. Because it's important. Tupac said it. All those kind of people, Michael Jackson, if they want to die or something happens in their life, they open their mouth. Yeah.
Right.
And I would like also our presidents to open their mouth and say, hey, man, what do you guys come here? You comes to take my oil. You guys are poor. We need people to speak out that also have some cash. And that what the other most important thing is. There are still some people among us, yeah, that do not understand how important it is to be the children of the Most High. The whole world is fighting you only for one thing that happened with Cain and Abel. Okay? It's like, hey, you are my brother? What? The Most High loves you more than me? Pop. There is nothing others. Esau and Jacob, Ishmael and whatever. Yeah.
And
Isaac, yeah.
yeah.
It's only about, hey, who you love him more than me? I will kill everyone that you love. There's nothing else, brother. Nothing else. I have studied my whole life and understood there's nothing else but envy. Like no, I will kill you because the Most High loves you. And That's why. If they have everything that they have, money, women's, buildings, all the knowledge, why do they want also to steal our father, our
Mm,
identity?
mm,
You know?
mm,
So if people speak out and start saying, oh, look, now it will be a controversy. If people start now understand, like this Christian that has supported those guys for years and supported, everyone has his eye on the Middle East. If people start now understanding, man, these people are nothing,
mm,
this is the end of the game. This is
mm,
World War III. This is
mm,
World War, the end of the world wars, you know?
mm,
And people have to be very careful.
mm,
Sometimes the Most High took the evils of the evil man to speak the truth.
mm,
Yeah.
mm,
Sometimes some people say just things and the Most High Spirit has spoken.
mm,
And we're going to see this kind of things very often in these last days because the Most High will start now using also other peoples, even white Chinese, to start speaking the truth. And the white man will be surprised when his kingdom is fallen.
mm,
Because we need sometimes people speaking out so
mm,
that some people that are smaller can go
mm.
and build up from there.
Yeah, and here's
But
the reality too
these
is that
people, if they have money, uh money, if you have money, you have to know how to build your people. With
right.
all this money, you could build so many companies for our people. They
Mm.
have to do more for our people, you know.
That's the thing. It's holding, that's to me, that's the biggest thing with everything is about you have to hold the people that you are entertained by accountable, right? Instead of celebrating every single time they post a new picture of their Rolls Royce or their brand or their seventh house that they've decided to buy in Turks and Caicos, you should be sitting there and you should be writing. If you follow them on social media, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, instead of you being with the hard eyes or the drooling faces or whatever it should be, you should be sitting there and you're going, how come you're not rebuilding? How come we have all these other things that are going on? Have you seen Congo? Have you seen such and such? Have you seen this? Why are you not doing that? And because they read, but they read these things. They see, wait a second. Every time I post a picture of my new car, they're not going crazy. They're asking me, how come I'm not going there? And what happens is for some of our people, we don't know what we don't know. So some people are like, oh, I don't even know where Zambia is on the continent. I didn't even know that this was happening in Zambia. And now you're doing that. But if you continuously allow yourself to be entertained by them, and then you're sitting there and you're going, oh, okay, because here's the reality. How many people are going to open up their homes and provide for those that are going to open up their mouths? See, this is the reason why. So that's why I say that our people in our community, we have to be very, very careful and strategic about how we decide to do things, because we have to be not what we would call in the West the peanut gallery, which is you're sitting there and you're going, yeah, do that, do that, do that. And now you're saying, okay, well, now you come, you're like, well, no, what I meant to say. And it's like, no, if you're going to be cheering for these things, you also have to be prepared. And if this person falls, are you prepared to open up your house for them to be able to have a place? Because that's what the warriors are going to need. We all know that in kingdoms, everybody has different degrees of what they have to do. There's some people that are going to be on the front lines. There's some people that are going to be at home. There's some people that are going to be helping the wounded warriors and things of that nature. So we need to start to fall into position. And the people that are going to be warriors on the front lines of battle, the ones that we're going to say, pick up your shield and spear and the spirit of the Most High and go into battle. We must be prepared if they come back wounded, to not laugh at their wounds, to not mock their wounds, but to sit there and help nurture and help get them revitalized and empowered again to go back out there. So this is what I think is why I say that wisdom really needs to be increased. We really have to do a lot of healing, but we also need to hold the people that have money, power, and influence accountable, that you can say whatever it is that you want in the US. It's a freedom of speech. So if that's what your position is, then that's what your position is. But you also have to be prepared that there's consequences for the position that you decide to take. And you have to be fully prepared for all of those consequences when you open up your mouth, because no one's going to want to hear, oh, it's not fair. It's not, they don't care. You lost everything or you're losing everything. This is how it works. And what's happening to one person will happen. The same things that happened to Malcolm X or Kwame Nkrumah or, Stephen Biko or Simon Toko or Captiviy. All of these people, they were all warriors, but they were all getting battled every single day. People, attacks all the time on them as they were trying to rebuild. And so what happened was, after a while, our people started to get a little bit scared. Like, dang, dude, I don't want to be burned at the stake in front of everybody with my kid. Like, I don't want them to come into my house and take everything. So maybe I won't do anything. So we have to empower our lions. We have to feed our lions, and we have to understand when it's time, because a lion doesn't walk around every day, right? A lion picks the perfect time for the weather. He sleeps most of the time, right? This is why it says in Genesis, right, that Judah is a lion's whelp, and who will rouse him up? Because once that lion wakes up, you can't be like, okay, I was just kidding, go back to sleep. It's done. It's over with. So let's just all be prepared and pray for the Spirit of the Most High, that when he wakes up the lions, when he wakes us up, that we have a good backing of people that are going to be there to make sure that we stay nurtured and that we stay fed and we stay prayed for.
And with the backup, we can also say that the diaspora mingled himself with the people in the land,
Yeah.
because the people in the land, they're still waiting for the diaspora also to bring some knowledge to the
Yeah.
land.
Yeah.
And sometimes bad, because they think also the diaspora will bring them the wealth. The wealth
Right.
is not in by the diaspora, and the wealth is in the land.
Right.
So it's like that. What we really need is because we are the first that are awoken, and we're gonna definitely bring salvation to Africa somewhere somehow. But then in Africa, we're gonna meet some other power coming from Africa that will overtake us. Yeah, that will overtake us. There is an ancient power that was always there, and something that was always there that will,
be unleashed.
yeah, exactly, be unleashed and be over us and with us. And this is that what the most of people fear, which means we can't end in the West. We have to bring this brightness and light out of the West back home. Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. It's always amazing. Yeah, I hope you will come one day with another topic here to us. Yeah, just tell the people how they can contact you. So
Yeah,
how
a lot of people. So you can just message me. I have multiple emails, but one of them is just denim.richards@yahoo. So you can just literally my name with a period in the thing. And then I'm on social media. It's all the same thing at Denim Richards. So you can message me anytime. I had one lady that did reach out to me, and I did Zoom or whatever. Like, I'll just set up a Zoom and we'll do an hour and 15 minutes and help talk about what your plan is, how to help you plan for, your return, things that I've learned from after me leaving the US and being, in Africa for the last 2.5 years. And so, so contact me, and then we'll talk and figure out how to consult you to the best way that fits you in a place that appreciates you.
yeah, Denim has some great things going on, and he's a star. Yeah, he himself is a star. So yeah, but it's always good to have some people like that among us. Yeah, and yeah, brothers and
Thank you.
sisters, let us grow together, learn together. Let the Most High always be with us, and let us trust in everything that He has said. Be strong in this last time, couple of months of 2022 is like tough. There's a lot of things going on. Yeah, but we are still we are doing well. We're doing good. Yeah, like Yaya said, yeah, it's a time of tribulation, but we are good. Yeah,
Real
everything
good.
is fine. Don't think negative, and everything is positive. To everything that's happening is positive. Yeah, as long as long you don't die or anyone else, yeah, everything is positive. You can
Yeah.
learn from everything, from every fall. You can learn. Eh, eh, a feast has to go back to get strong, or
Mhm.
so that when you come and hit, and then it might be, yeah, someone, yeah, the other person will fall, whatever. I don't know how to explain. Yeah, yeah, say a couple of words, and yeah.
Yeah, just know that steel only becomes steel when it's been pounded, right? And so every situation that you have, it's just going to make you stronger. So don't allow yourself to be a victim. Prepare, pray, and stop trying to be entertained, and just focus. This is a long game, and don't get discouraged. When you get discouraged, reach out, and we'll help you keep that motivation. But yeah.
Engete.
So,
So, brothers and sisters, moms, daddy, elders, because I have a lot of elders in this channel. A lot. Can't imagine. Reach out to us, and I will see you very soon.